When people, especially those we value deeply, begin to distance themselves, it often stirs a mixture of confusion, rejection, and self-doubt. The experience can leave us in an emotional whirlwind, causing us to question not only the dynamics of our relationships, but also our self-worth. This feeling is universally relatable. At one point or another, nearly everyone has faced the discomfort of feeling sidelined or unappreciated. Yet, what if we could view this experience differently? Instead of interpreting distancing as a rejection or failure, we could see it as an opportunity for reflection, growth, and realignment with our core values. Drawing from Stoic philosophy, an approach focused on inner resilience and wisdom, we can gain the tools to navigate these situations with clarity and peace. Stoic teachings offer a way to not only accept the reality of such events, but also embrace them as opportunities for deeper understanding. Amor Fati, or love of fate, is a cornerstone of Stoicism, encouraging us to accept every event as part of life's natural course. When someone distances themselves, Amor Fati asks us not only to accept this reality, but to see it as a meaningful part of our path, shaping us and our perspective. In accepting that this distance is beyond our control, we release the grip of resistance, which often intensifies our emotional suffering. Instead, we center ourselves on what we can control, our own thoughts, responses, and actions, allowing us to navigate these experiences with a sense of inner strength and calm, even when our surroundings are uncertain. Now, if you are new here, please like the video and subscribe. Statistics show that only 15% of my audience is subscribed to the channel, so if this content has helped you in any way, I ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Another powerful approach in dealing with relational distancing is to develop an understanding of why people may choose to pull away. Human relationships are inherently complex, shaped by a multitude of factors that may have little to do with us personally. Sometimes, people distance themselves due to their own needs, struggles, or circumstances, which might not align with ours at that moment. They may feel overwhelmed by personal challenges, need solitude to process certain emotions, or simply require space to rediscover themselves independently. This isn't a reflection of our worth, but an expression of their internal world, shaped by individual experiences and emotions that we may not fully understand. Stoic philosophy, particularly the teachings of Epictetus, encourages us to avoid snap judgments about others' actions and intentions. When we view someone's distance through a lens of curiosity and empathy rather than judgment, we cultivate a non-reactive approach that focuses on understanding rather than assigning blame. This shift in perspective enables us to respect the other person's autonomy, creating emotional space for both parties to exist authentically. Such an understanding doesn't minimize the importance of the relationship. Instead, it respects the natural ebb and flow of human connection, acknowledging that boundaries are often expressions of self-care. Embracing this concept allows us to step back from negative assumptions and view the distance as a meaningful, if challenging, part of the relational journey, helping us to process emotions in a way that doesn't harm our peace of mind. While understanding others' motivations is crucial, introspection and self-reflection are equally valuable. Stoicism places high regard on self-reflection, not as an act of blame, but as a pathway to personal clarity and growth. It's natural to seek comfort and connection in relationships, yet sometimes our own needs, fears, or expectations may contribute to unintended strain. The practice of prosoche, or self-vigilance in Stoicism, invites us to observe our behaviors and reactions without self-criticism, but with compassionate honesty. Perhaps we've leaned too heavily on this person for validation or fulfillment, creating an emotional reliance that may feel suffocating to them. Or, conversely, we may have overlooked certain aspects of the relationship, leading the other person to seek distance to regain balance. In reflecting on our actions, we aim not to blame ourselves, but to increase awareness of our own patterns and their potential impact on others. A checklist of potential behaviors like clinginess, overdependence, or even neglect can serve as gentle reminders of areas we might address. By developing this self-awareness, we become more attuned to both our needs and the needs of those around us. In doing so, we cultivate healthier, more balanced relationships that support our well-being without creating dependency, fostering an atmosphere where connections are built on mutual respect and understanding rather than on emotional need. Emotional resilience is another invaluable tool when facing the challenges of distancing. The Stoics believed that distress is not caused by external events, but by our interpretations and reactions to them. When we internalize this concept, we realize that we have a profound ability to shape our emotional landscape regardless of others' actions. This resilience is captured in the Stoic concept of apatheia, or inner tranquility, which refers to a state of emotional stability that is not swayed by the unpredictable nature of external circumstances. Apatheia does not mean emotional suppression or detachment. Rather, it's a cultivated state of mind that allows us to respond to life's ups and downs without becoming overwhelmed. In this context, emotional resilience helps us navigate the pain of distancing without letting feelings of loneliness or sadness overtake us. It's an invitation to practice control over our responses by understanding that our sense of peace is determined by our choices, not by others' actions. Techniques like mindful breathing, visualization, and grounding exercises are powerful tools for practicing this resilience. They help us stay centered and emotionally regulated, particularly in moments when feelings of rejection or insecurity may arise. This resilience serves as a buffer, giving us the strength to endure change with poise, recognizing that our emotional well-being lies in our hands, independent of any single relationship. Cultivating independence and self-sufficiency is yet another empowering approach within Stoicism. While connection is a vital part of human life, depending too heavily on others for emotional stability can lead to feelings of vulnerability and insecurity. Instead, Stoic philosophy encourages us to build a secure and fulfilling relationship with ourselves, one that does not rely solely on the presence or approval of others. Independence in this context is not about isolation. Rather, it's about developing a deep inner confidence that allows us to remain whole and balanced, regardless of others' actions. By setting personal goals, nurturing passions, and engaging in activities that bring joy, we reinforce our sense of self-worth. This independence fosters resilience, creating a foundation from which we can approach relationships from a place of genuine appreciation rather than need. Engaging in activities like learning new skills, pursuing hobbies, or dedicating time to self-care strengthens this self-sufficiency, enabling us to feel content within ourselves. This sense of independence doesn't distance us from others, but enriches our relationships, allowing us to offer support without expecting others to fulfill needs that we are already meeting for ourselves. Detachment from external outcomes is a critical principle in Stoicism, and it's particularly applicable when dealing with changes in relationships. Often, we pour significant emotional energy into securing a particular outcome in our relationships, whether it's seeking validation, closeness, or understanding from another person. But when we become attached to these outcomes, we set ourselves up for disappointment, as we cannot control the actions, thoughts, or feelings of others. Stoic teachings emphasize the importance of focusing on what we can control, our intentions, actions, and mindset, while releasing attachment to the results. Marcus Aurelius, a prominent Stoic philosopher, often wrote about the futility of worrying over external events that fall outside our control, reminding us to center ourselves in our internal world. This approach aligns with the Buddhist concept of non-attachment, which also teaches that clinging to specific outcomes often leads to suffering. When we release this attachment, we free ourselves from the anxiety that comes from needing situations to unfold in a particular way. Instead, we learn to appreciate each relationship as it is, without imposing expectations. This shift in focus, from external validation to internal growth, transforms our mindset, allowing us to experience a sense of peace, confident that our well-being does not hinge on any external factor, but resides in our own hands. Stoic practices for cultivating inner peace offer practical, everyday exercises that help us anchor ourselves in tranquility regardless of the events around us. The Stoics valued regular reflection as a means of maintaining emotional clarity and calm. Taking time each morning to prepare for the day and each evening to review our actions and thoughts allows us to process our emotions and reactions in a constructive way. This daily reflection serves as a mental reset, helping us to manage stress and prevent emotional buildup when dealing with relational uncertainty. Alongside Stoic reflection, meditation and mindfulness are transformative practices for calming the mind and creating a space of peace within ourselves. Buddhist meditation techniques, as well as Zen practices of non-attachment, reinforce this state of inner stability, enabling us to let go of the chaotic thoughts that often intensify stress and sadness. Spending moments in nature, listening to calming music, or journaling can further support this practice, creating a peaceful mental environment untouched by external shifts. Inner peace isn't a fixed state we reach once. It's an ongoing commitment to returning to ourselves, maintaining a balanced mind, and nurturing a stable heart. With these practices, we create an inner sanctuary, a space where we can return anytime, free from the impact of others' actions, ensuring that we meet life's challenges with composure. With inner peace as a foundation, personal growth and self-improvement become natural extensions of this journey. Stoic philosophy highlights the value of continuous self-betterment, emphasizing that the best way to honor ourselves and others is through committed growth. Instead of focusing on the distance in a relationship, we can channel this time and energy into developing our skills, knowledge, and self-confidence. The Stoics believed that growth wasn't merely a pursuit of personal goals, but a responsibility to live with integrity and purpose. By focusing on self-improvement, we cultivate a well-rounded life filled with meaningful pursuits, reducing our dependence on external factors for happiness. Whether it's investing in physical health, exploring creative passions, or expanding intellectual horizons, these efforts enrich our lives, making us more resilient and self-sufficient. Personal growth is not only fulfilling, but also attracts others to us naturally, as the energy of self-confidence and independence often draws like-minded individuals into our lives. As we engage in this journey of self-improvement, we become more grounded and at ease with who we are, allowing relationships to complement our lives rather than define our worth. By building ourselves up, we prepare for a life where relationships are valued and appreciated, but never the sole source of our fulfillment. Here's the continuation of the text, representing the second third of the content. This segment builds on the initial themes and introduces new Stoic and philosophical insights, guiding viewers through deeper reflection and strategies for managing relational distance with resilience and inner balance. Forgiveness and letting go are essential components when dealing with relational distancing. The process of forgiving someone who has distanced themselves, even if the hurt is subtle, liberates us from the emotional weight that often accompanies such experiences. Stoic philosophy teaches that harboring resentment or holding on to past hurts only deepens our suffering and limits our peace of mind. Seneca, one of the prominent Stoic philosophers, emphasized that forgiveness is ultimately a gift to ourselves. It frees us from the grip of negative emotions and allows us to focus our mental energy on more constructive aspects of life. Forgiveness in this context doesn't imply excusing or forgetting any behavior that may have been hurtful. Rather, it's about releasing our emotional attachment to those events and choosing peace over resentment. In addition to Stoic wisdom, Buddhist teachings on compassion reinforce the idea that forgiveness is an act of kindness toward ourselves. Buddhism advocates for the concept of compassion that begins with oneself. When we forgive, we don't erase the past, but release the control it holds over our present. One effective exercise for cultivating forgiveness is writing an unsent letter to the person who has distanced themselves. This letter serves as a private space to express any unresolved feelings, confusion, or even disappointment. By allowing these emotions to flow freely on paper, we begin the process of releasing them from our minds. Forgiveness, especially when it isn't followed by reconciliation, may feel incomplete, yet it empowers us to let go of lingering negativity. Through this act of self-compassion, we reclaim control over our emotional state, setting the stage for inner calm and clarity. Equally essential to dealing with distancing is respecting the boundaries and needs of others. Often, when someone withdraws, it's easy to interpret their actions as rejection or personal offense. However, Stoic philosophy reminds us that each individual has their own inner world and motivations. Epictetus advised that we should not impose our expectations onto others, but allow people the freedom to navigate their own paths. Sometimes, people seek distance as a way to set boundaries, reassess their priorities, or protect their mental well-being. This act of distancing isn't necessarily a reflection of our worth or a rejection of our bond. Rather, it may be a necessary measure of self-care. When we respect another's boundaries, we are showing emotional maturity and demonstrating that we value their autonomy. Healthy relationships require a balanced respect for personal boundaries, allowing each person to feel secure enough to express their needs without fear of guilt or misunderstanding. Boundaries are expressions of self-care, and honoring them can help us maintain a positive connection, even if it is temporarily redefined. One practical approach to respecting boundaries is to practice non-judgmental communication. Instead of questioning or seeking immediate answers, we can express a willingness to give space and an openness to reconnect when the time feels right. This open, non-intrusive approach communicates that we care without pressuring the other person. By respecting boundaries, we build a foundation of trust and patience, reminding ourselves that relationships are fluid and that space can sometimes bring clarity and strength. An effective way to transform the experience of someone distancing themselves is to reframe it as an opportunity for personal growth. Stoicism emphasizes that every challenge, especially those that test our patience and resilience, is a chance to develop inner virtues. Marcus Aurelius famously observed that obstacles are not impediments, but opportunities to practice virtue. When faced with the challenge of distance, we can ask ourselves what this experience has to teach us. Instead of focusing on what we may be losing, we can shift our perspective to what we might gain in self-awareness, emotional maturity, or independence. This process of reframing doesn't deny the discomfort that comes with change. It simply redirects our focus from loss to growth. Reframing is a mindset shift that enables us to find value even in adversity. In Zen Buddhism, there is a similar teaching that encourages seeing each life experience as part of a broader journey toward awareness. Whether it's a positive or painful experience, every interaction and every moment offers a lesson. Approaching distancing with curiosity rather than resistance allows us to deepen our understanding and cultivate resilience. Consider a reflective exercise where you write down 3 ways this experience has helped you grow. Perhaps it's taught you patience, highlighted areas for personal development, or clarified what you truly value in relationships. By focusing on these aspects, you begin to see distancing as a stepping stone rather than an obstacle, which makes room for self-discovery and emotional growth. While reframing is helpful, it's equally vital to maintain social connections and avoid isolation. Stoic philosophy values independence and self-sufficiency, but it doesn't negate the importance of companionship and community. Aristotle referred to humans as social animals, asserting that connection with others is essential for a fulfilling life. When someone pulls away, we may feel a void, but it's crucial to remember that we can nurture other relationships to maintain emotional balance and avoid loneliness. These connections, whether they are with friends, family, or community members, provide support, encouragement, and a sense of belonging that can ease the discomfort of losing a particular relationship. Building and maintaining a range of social connections aligns with Stoic ideas about balance. By developing relationships that bring joy and companionship, we avoid the emotional vulnerability that can come from relying solely on one person. Social connections act as a buffer against isolation, offering warmth and companionship that reinforce our sense of worth. By diversifying our network, we ensure that our lives remain rich with human interaction, even when one relationship is uncertain. To actively build these connections, consider reaching out to friends, joining interest groups, or volunteering. Engaging in community-based activities allows us to bond with others in meaningful ways, offering a sense of purpose and connection that complements our independence. You have now reached the halfway mark of the video. I congratulate you for trying to become a better version of yourself, and I also humbly ask you to leave a comment, as it helps my channel immensely. If you do not know what to comment, just write "better" every day, so I know you reached this far. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Also, I've linked some books on Stoicism that helped me become the man I am today, and will also help you achieve a Stoic mindset. In addition to social connections, maintaining a mindset of gratitude and recognizing life's impermanence are transformative practices when dealing with distancing. Gratitude, according to Stoicism, helps us refocus our attention on what we have rather than what we lack. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to appreciate the good in life, regardless of external circumstances. Practicing gratitude helps us anchor ourselves in the present, reducing the tendency to dwell on feelings of loss or lack. In times of relational change, gratitude allows us to shift our focus to the positive aspects of our lives, appreciating the connections, experiences, and simple joys that persist regardless of others' actions. Gratitude can be cultivated through daily reflections, such as noting 3 things each day that bring a sense of fulfillment. This might include a supportive conversation with a friend, the enjoyment of a favorite meal, or the beauty of nature. Gratitude redirects our mind from focusing on what is absent to what is abundant, reinforcing our emotional resilience and making us less vulnerable to feelings of loneliness or rejection. Furthermore, the Buddhist concept of impermanence complements gratitude by reminding us that all things, including relationships, are temporary. Embracing impermanence helps us avoid becoming overly attached to the way things are, encouraging us to appreciate each relationship for what it is in the present. This perspective doesn't eliminate the pain of loss, but it softens it, allowing us to flow with life's natural rhythms rather than resisting them. Cultivating purpose and self-compassion are two additional practices that significantly enhance our ability to navigate relational changes. A sense of purpose gives us direction and grounding, helping us feel fulfilled independently of others' actions. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, observed that people who have a clear purpose can endure nearly any circumstance, as purpose provides meaning that transcends situational challenges. In the context of relationships, having a purpose beyond personal connections helps us maintain a sense of self-worth and direction. Whether it's through meaningful work, creative pursuits, or contributing to a cause we believe in, purpose fills our lives with a sense of accomplishment that doesn't rely on others' validation. In practice, this might mean dedicating time to a hobby, volunteering, or pursuing personal goals that bring satisfaction and pride. Purpose-oriented activities build a fulfilling life that remains stable and enriching regardless of shifts in our relationships, creating a secure foundation for our self-esteem and happiness. Equally crucial is the practice of self-compassion, which is particularly beneficial in moments of relational uncertainty. Self-compassion involves treating ourselves with the same kindness and patience we would offer a friend. It's easy to become self-critical, especially when facing the emotional ambiguity of someone distancing themselves. Here's the final third of the content, concluding the discussion on the 13 principles with a deepening focus on self-compassion, non-attachment, and emotional resilience, and reinforcing a holistic approach for managing relational changes through Stoic and other philosophical teachings. Practicing self-compassion is a vital component when someone we care about begins to distance themselves. Often, in the face of relational uncertainty, we may feel a rush of self-doubt or even self-blame. These emotions can lead us to question our adequacy, as we wonder if we could have prevented the distancing. But self-compassion reminds us to treat ourselves with the same patience, kindness, and understanding that we would offer a friend in a similar situation. Stoic philosophy advocates for acceptance of our human nature, including our imperfections, and it encourages us to be gentle with ourselves as we navigate these challenges. This act of self-kindness frees us from the harsh inner dialogue that can exacerbate feelings of sadness or rejection. By replacing self-criticism with self-compassion, we create a supportive inner environment, one that offers solace and resilience. In Buddhist teachings, compassion begins within. Without cultivating empathy and forgiveness toward ourselves, it becomes difficult to offer these qualities to others. Self-compassion encourages us to acknowledge our emotions without judgment, viewing our responses as natural and valid. When we feel hurt or confused by someone's distancing, acknowledging these feelings without self-reproach is a healing act. Practicing self-compassion might involve mindfulness exercises such as self-compassion meditations, where we focus on directing understanding and warmth toward ourselves. Alternatively, we can shift our self-talk to be more supportive. For example, if we find ourselves thinking, "I'm not good enough," or "I must have done something wrong," we can reframe these thoughts into more compassionate statements like, "I am doing my best and I deserve kindness." Through this approach, self-compassion becomes a habit that strengthens our ability to cope with relational changes gracefully. Fostering non-attachment is another powerful practice for maintaining peace in the face of distancing. Non-attachment, as taught in both Stoic and Buddhist philosophies, doesn't imply a lack of care, but rather a freedom from needing things to remain as they are. In relationships, we often cling to a particular outcome, hoping for a deepening connection or a return to how things used to be. But when we attach ourselves too tightly to these desires, we set ourselves up for disappointment if things shift. Stoic philosophy encourages us to focus on what we can control, our actions and perspectives, and release our grip on outcomes beyond our influence. This acceptance reduces our tendency to feel frustrated or hurt when others act independently of our expectations. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the importance of viewing each moment with equanimity, without becoming emotionally entangled in desires or fears. By adopting this mindset, we can enjoy relationships for what they are, rather than clinging to what we wish them to be. This doesn't diminish our appreciation for others. Rather, it allows us to cherish them more fully in the present moment without the weight of future expectations. Buddhist teachings on impermanence also reinforce this idea. Recognizing that all things, including relationships, are fluid and subject to change, helps us approach each connection with an open heart and an understanding that things may evolve over time. Non-attachment, then, is not a form of indifference. It's an enlightened way of relating to others that emphasizes freedom, respect, and appreciation over possession or control. Maintaining emotional resilience is another critical aspect of dealing with relational distance. Building resilience equips us to handle change without letting it destabilize our inner peace. In Stoicism, emotional resilience stems from an understanding that our well-being is rooted within us and not dependent on external events or people. When someone distances themselves, it's natural to feel destabilized. However, with resilience, we learn to view change as part of life's natural cycle, something that doesn't detract from our inherent worth. The Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum, preparing for adversity, encourages us to anticipate challenges as part of life and to mentally prepare for them. By imagining potential outcomes and envisioning how we would respond, we build resilience, knowing we can maintain our calm and values regardless of circumstances. This resilience doesn't mean that we stop caring about others. Rather, it reinforces our ability to experience emotions without being overtaken by them. When a relationship shifts, resilience helps us balance the natural sadness or disappointment with an underlying sense of stability. Practical exercises, like mindful breathing or visualizing positive affirmations, support resilience by reminding us of our inner strength. Practicing resilience also makes us less likely to react impulsively to others' actions. Instead, we cultivate a calm presence that is both strong and flexible, enabling us to face relational changes with grace. Alongside resilience, focusing on self-growth and continuous improvement provides an empowering alternative to dwelling on relational uncertainty. Stoic philosophy advocates for lifelong learning and self-improvement, emphasizing that growth is not only beneficial but essential to our well-being. When we channel our energy toward personal development, we create a sense of fulfillment that is self-sustaining. Whether it's pursuing a new skill, advancing in our career, or developing a creative talent, personal growth provides a positive outlet that enriches our lives. It gives us something meaningful to focus on, reducing any overdependence on external relationships for our sense of happiness or purpose. Self-improvement does not mean striving to impress others or seeking validation. It is a commitment to ourselves. This dedication to growth transforms moments of uncertainty into opportunities for enhancement, showing us that our sense of worth is independent of external circumstances. Practical steps for self-improvement might include setting personal goals, working on physical wellness, or exploring new areas of knowledge. Through these pursuits, we create a life filled with achievements that bring inner satisfaction, and we become naturally more attractive to others through our confidence and independence. This self-growth journey builds a resilient identity, one that sees relationships as additions to our lives rather than sources of validation. Maintaining healthy social connections is also essential to ensure that we don't fall into isolation. Stoicism values independence, but it recognizes the importance of meaningful relationships. When someone distances themselves, we can counter the potential loneliness by nurturing connections with friends, family, and community. Aristotle viewed friendships as an integral part of a fulfilling life, stressing that human beings are inherently social and thrive on meaningful connections. By cultivating friendships and investing in our social network, we create a balanced life where we feel emotionally supported, even when one relationship changes. These social connections offer us different perspectives, companionship, and moments of shared joy, helping to ground us in our sense of belonging. To nurture these connections, consider taking small steps like reaching out to a friend for a coffee, joining a group aligned with your interests, or participating in volunteer activities. These actions not only expand our support network, but also remind us that relationships are varied and dynamic. By cultivating a network of supportive connections, we become less likely to over-focus on one relationship, fostering emotional resilience and reinforcing the idea that our social needs can be met through a range of meaningful bonds. As we continue to build emotional resilience and nurture social connections, cultivating gratitude becomes an essential practice that shifts our perspective toward appreciation and abundance. Gratitude, as promoted in Stoic philosophy, redirects our focus from what we lack to what we have, fostering a mindset that emphasizes contentment. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the small blessings of daily life, using gratitude as a tool to ground himself in the present moment. When we practice gratitude, we engage in a powerful shift from longing to fulfillment, helping us to find joy in the connections, experiences, and moments that surround us, even in times of relational change. A simple yet powerful way to cultivate gratitude is through journaling. Each day, jotting down 3 things we're grateful for can anchor us in the present, reminding us of the richness in our lives. We might appreciate a supportive friend, a moment of peace, or the beauty of nature. Gratitude helps us avoid tunnel vision, keeping us focused on the positive elements of our lives rather than fixating on what may be missing. Combined with the Buddhist principle of impermanence, gratitude becomes a profound practice, encouraging us to appreciate each experience as fleeting yet valuable. Recognizing impermanence invites us to embrace each relationship and moment without clinging to it, knowing that change is inevitable but that every connection contributes to our journey. Together, gratitude and impermanence transform our mindset, helping us find joy in the present and accept the flow of life without resistance. Finally, bringing all these practices together allows us to approach relationships with a sense of wholeness, wisdom, and empowerment. The Stoic, Buddhist, and philosophical insights explored here provide a holistic framework for managing relational changes with grace and resilience. When we accept reality, respect boundaries, nurture independence, and prioritize inner peace, we cultivate a balanced and emotionally fulfilling life. These practices allow us to meet life's inevitable changes with a steady heart, rooted in the understanding that our self-worth is intrinsic, not dependent on others' actions or validation. Relational distance doesn't diminish our value. It reveals an opportunity for self-discovery and personal growth. By aligning our lives with these principles, we develop a sense of completeness that isn't shaken by external events. Relationships become enriching additions to our lives rather than sources of need. Ultimately, when we embody these practices, we approach others from a place of confidence, understanding, and respect, cultivating connections that are mutual, free, and genuine. This journey isn't about controlling relationships or avoiding distance. It's about building a life filled with resilience, joy, and purpose that sustains us regardless of others' actions. The best relationships are born from a place of mutual respect, individuality, and freedom, and through these practices, we are empowered to nurture such bonds. In embracing these principles, we not only manage relational changes with wisdom, but also create a life that is resilient, joyful, and rich in self-discovery, allowing us to thrive through every phase of connection and growth. Now, if any part of this message has been helpful to you, leave us your like and comment, helping the algorithm recommend it to someone who needs it at this time. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss new videos. And if you look through the videos we've already uploaded, you're sure to find something to take with you. Have a good day.